Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday, it's 8 o'clock, and it's time to welcome you back once again to the Tom Broadbent Lounge. We've got plenty in capital letters there to chat about this evening. We've got Yorkshire draws, EFL trophy losses, and Saturday previews. There's also the small matter of collectively laughing at Ellis and trying to forget the result of our first TSTBL versus STFC You Know the Drill, which was released on YouTube this week. But first, before we get into all that good stuff, let's introduce this week's guest. She's no stranger to the lounge, and she's no stranger to scoring goals in the red and white of Swindon Town Football Club. Hot off a 6-0 thrashing of Sherborne in the FA Cup, and right on the cusp of 50 goals for STFC, she's Swindon Town Women's Football Club's hot shot number 9, and she's also an official TSTBL sponsored athlete. This evening, we are joined by the inimitable Annie Goalston. Annie, welcome back to the lounge. How are we doing?
That was very cute. I'm good.
I tried it.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. I was trying to forget the You Know the Drill result until it got released this week, and watching it back, I think we did take an absolute pasting, but other than that, I'm not doing too bad.
That's good. That's good.
So let's introduce a bit of the panel first. We have got Ellis joining us a little bit late. I think he was boxing or just busy skying balls over the crossbar for a laugh or whatever he was doing. We have got with us tonight. We've got Daz, Annie, Daz.
Good evening, Annie. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Having watched the clips, have you taken no notice of how the Sir Tom Broadbent lads did?
I will try and stay well clear of their techniques at the weekend, I'll tell you that.
Definitely.
Well, we'll get onto that, but you can keep the pasting just for Ellis, please. Exclusively Ellis hate. He's not here to defend himself, so get it all out of your system. We've also got Charlie with us. So Charlie, Annie, Charlie.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I was watching the video the other day.
What did you think, mate?
Ellis, mate. Ellis needs to get better.
He does need to get better. We'll get on to the drill in a bit, but I'm hoping he joins us for the absolute battering he's about to get because he deserves. Oh, here he is actually. So he's here to defend himself now, so it's a free game.
Oh no.
Ellis, mate, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, wonderful. So I'm a little bit late. I was getting punched in the head.
Well, you're either getting punched in the head or you're falling on your head. It's one of the two, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, I've got a lot of stick over the past couple of days. I mean, rightly so. I just want to put it out there. I was having an off day. It's my defence. I'm not normally that bad, and I think the one shot probably out of what was it, 10 that I had was world class. And also my diving header, if that would have gone in, that would have probably been the best goal of the day. So look, I was having an off day, but I'll be back. Don't worry about that.
Mate, I need to see your defence lawyer. That was quite good. That. Anyway, let's kick off with the last STFC Women's Football Club game that you've played in, Annie. So I think it's almost good luck the last weekend's league fixture with Selsey was postponed because that means we can get our teeth stuck into an FA Cup thumping, and this time it's for the right team. Annie, take us back to the visit of Sherborne to Foundation Park. I mean, a couple of goals for Holly Beckeson and Meg Jarvis, as well as you getting your 49th in red and white. A goal that I actually thought was your 50th. So, I'm apologising right now for the premature post, but don't worry, that awaits in drafts for this weekend. So, what do you remember about the game? Was it a classic straightforward cup tie against a side from a lower tier? Were you sort of subconsciously aware of banana skin in the cup? A little bit like the lads faced that weekend as well?
It feels like ages ago since the game. But no, we knew that they were going to put up a fight. There was a bit of noise going into the game where they said that they were going to come and batter us, and they were up for it just as much as we was. And I think we had more joy in the second half. They were quite hard to play through in the first half, but I think their tired legs sort of helped us out in the second half. But we played well as a team, and it was good to just get the confidence and the spirit up looking for this weekend as well.
I mean, you say that it was you struggled in the first half, Tad. I mean, you hit the bar 2 minutes in, which I thought, at least I wasn't at the game, but following along and reading through the reports and watching the highlights and stuff, it almost set the tone for the 90 minutes in my mind. I think you guys came out of the traps really quite quickly. It was almost a bit of a bombardment on the Sherborne defence for at least 25 minutes until the first goal went in. When the first goal goes in, obviously you scored two more before half time, 3-0 at the break. It doesn't seem as if they came with, a mentality of believing that they were going to batter you, because they took an absolute battering themselves.
I think we just knew that we had to go for it straight away, and just sort of turn up and show them that we're not gonna, it's hard when you are playing a team in the league below. You do go in as favourites, and sometimes that can hinder you. But we just use it to our advantage, and just knew that we had to go in strong. We needed to get a good couple of goals in the first half to set a tone for the second half, and I think we executed the plan really well. And yeah, it worked in our favour.
I mean, I appreciate, obviously, it was a couple of weeks ago, but can you remember what the manager's instructions were going into the second half? Obviously, 3-0 up. Was it a case of, more the same, just try and rack up the goal scoring numbers? Or, because I suppose when you go into the half time 3-0 up against the side in the lower tier, that must at least subconsciously sort of relax the girls. I'd imagine you go out and play with a bit more freedom in the second half, knowing that you're almost home free.
Yeah, like I said, the second half they had tired legs, so we started to work the ball better through the middle, sort of cutting them open. But half time it was just keep going the way we were going, and not to, rest on our laurels of the 3-0 in the first half. But just keep going and keep trying to score, and just make sure that there was no way that they could get back into the game.
Well, you said that keep trying to score. Obviously, you did score in the second half. So your 49th goal in the red of Swindon Town. Talk us through it. Can you remember it?
I can, yeah. I think it was Lanes. She crossed the ball like always.
Standard.
I rolled the defender and then scored with my left foot actually. So yeah, it was good, and I've never tried to score another goal so hard in my whole life. I think I headed the ball about 50 times, and I never head the ball, so that speaks for itself. But
I honestly, when I saw the goal, I think the tweet must have been something like mentioning the 50th goal. So as soon as I've seen that, I just assumed. I mean, I assume you're Annie Goalston for a reason. Like, I assumed it was the 50th goal winning. So I've gone onto various different sites to find pictures and try and make a little collage. And yeah, all that effort for nothing. So I appreciate you not scoring another goal. That's really great of you.
So hopefully you can use it this weekend. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. So obviously Bournemouth this weekend at the County Ground. We head into the second round of the Cup. Obviously, tabletop in Bournemouth coming to Swindon. Bournemouth are currently top of the FA WNL Southwest. 9 wins from a possible 9. They're sure to put a stern test up on Sunday. But the FA Cup, I guess, is all about the upsets, isn't it? That's why we love it. So, what are your thoughts heading into Sunday? Are you looking forward to the challenge? Obviously, we've played them this season already, and it wasn't by far or by any means an absolute landslide.
No, I think we've got a lot of confidence going into the game. The game that we previously played, we lost 3-2, and they had 2 very suspicious penalties, which were never penalties. So I don't feel like they broke us down at all. I don't feel like they were the better team. We should at least walked away with a point. So we've got a lot of confidence going into the game. We're working really hard in training, and we are going to give it our absolute all to get through to the next round. And I hope we bloody cause an upset, because I think we deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there obviously 2 suspicious penalty shouts in the last game against Bournemouth. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming in the FA Cup you probably get a bit of a share of referees from higher divisions, I would assume. So obviously you would expect at the county ground on Sunday you'd see a little bit better officiating. Um, Aside from those dubious penalties, what do you think you're taking from the league fixture you played earlier in the season against Bournemouth into Sunday? Is there confidence there's not a difference in class? There's just as you mentioned, a difference in luck. Is it we're at home, we're playing on the big pitch, we're in the county round this week. Surely there's confidence there that you can use from that last match.
Yeah, I think it's all the things you just said, and I keep saying it, but I think the belief that we have as a team that we can go and win, I think that's gonna really help us out, because if you don't go in believing you're gonna win, then you're not gonna win. So the
Yeah, what's the
girls
point?
are the girls are absolutely gunning for it, and we're always excited to play at the county ground. So that's gonna help us and just build better atmosphere to make us want to win more.
Yeah, I mean, how important is it to the girls that the supporters make their way down to the county ground on Sunday? Like, does the whole idea of playing in front of a big crowd like you've done before, does that really spur on that, the extra 10% that players can go out onto the pitch and give that all and a little bit more as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cliche, but the fans are like the 12th player.
Mm.
They get you through the game, and just it's just the small things, like when you're on the counter attack and you can hear them getting louder. You run a bit faster. Like, it is crazy how much that impacts your game. And yeah, we're all buzzing for it. We hope that we get a good support down, because I think it'll be a really, really good game to watch. And if people aren't that interested, I think it will make them more interested in the women's team.
Absolutely. I mean, there's your plug, town fans. Get down to the county ground on Sunday. Tickets are on sale now, so make sure you head down. It's gonna be a good game. Third v first in the league, but this time as a cup place up for grabs. So obviously the FA Cup is synonymous with English football and sort of world football as well. And I think the Women's FA Cup in recent years has been on our TVs a little bit more. Obviously, it's been around for a long time, but it's been a bit more present in recent years. Sort of personally for you, Annie, as a player and a fan, what would you say the FA Cup means to you?
Oh, it's like the best cup you can play in my eyes. Like, obviously you got the World Cup, but
Mm,
for realistically, the FA Cup is the one that you want to have a good run in, and you want to get to the rounds where you start getting the bigger teams, and this is what we aspire for. I mean, we got Ellie Stripple in the team, obviously, and she played Man United when she was playing for Bridgewater, and she's got Ellerton's shirt. So it's
bloody
just
hell.
small things like that, which may not sound big to other people, but is what we strive for.
Mm.
And
I think
it keeps us going.
I I think even as a youngster, like I remember playing for when I was playing like under 15s at Fleet. Um, our manager would always spur us on each pre-season stuff as we grew up and went through the ranks. Like, you're 2 or 3 year groups away from now being able to play in like the preliminary rounds of the FA Cup, and it's important for youngsters, I think, isn't it, to have that sort of almost dream to latch onto that one day, as you say, Ellie had an opportunity to go and play against Man United, which is something that not everyone can say that they've done. Obviously, the WSL teams enter at the fourth round, so you kind of answered the question a second ago. But does that act as like an extra motivation to progress through the rounds? Just the opportunity to play against the best in the world, like it must be. Even obviously, if you get a shirt at the end of it, that's cool. You can whack it on your wall. That's nice to have. But just to test yourself against the best in the world must be a motivation in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't imagine how Ellie was feeling, but if it was me, it would just be surreal to even be on the same pitch as some of these players that you see on the TV now, like week
Mm.
in, week out. So we all strive for it, and there's nothing to say that it can't happen. If we've got the belief, then I don't see why it wouldn't happen.
No, definitely not. I think you say there as well, like the opportunity to play against players that are of that absolute world class quality must be a really special feeling. I think the closest I've ever been to that is the Paul Caddis charity game in May when I got spun by Simon Ferry and I was running after him to no avail, but I was quite enjoying the moment. I'm thinking, the class difference here is silly and I'm going to enjoy just getting absolutely trodden on. Um, like, let's move on to sort of an elephant in the room, I guess, with the the drill video that went out this week. So, listeners, obviously, you just seen on Monday the first episode of our brand new series, TSTBL versus STFC. You know the drill was thrown into the public domain. So, I mean, first up, look, what happened to? Okay, right, I'm gonna mess up a line here. First up, happened to be Annie and Co. as myself, Ellis, and Gabs took on STWFC. Got it out in the end. Gaffer Richwood put us all through our paces as we attempted to put our shooting boots on and get the first win of the season under our belts. Now, that didn't quite happen, did it, Ellis?
No, no, not at all. Nothing seemed to go to plan. Nothing. I mean, look, if anyone has watched the video can preach that I may not be the most talented footballer in the world.
Well, your dad doesn't think so, does he?
Oh no, I mean, look, I've got very supportive parents. He basically just called me useless. But you can't. If you watch the video, you can't argue with that. Look, like I was saying, I had an off day. But yeah, if you haven't watched the video, go and watch it now. You get to watch me almost snap my neck in half, going up for a bicycle kick.
I must admit, it looked more spectacular in person. Like, watching it back, I looked back at it, I was like, it's not even that bad.
Well, look, Gabs put the ball through. I see it coming. I'm like, look, I'm not getting up for a header for that. I think the only other option is a bicycle kick. I jump for it, and as I'm going up, I'm thinking in my head, right, I've got this, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be class. And the closer the ball got, the quicker I realised that I wasn't getting this ball. Then the ball went past me, and then I thought, right, how am I going to land this? Couldn't get my hands out in time, and ended up just using my head as a support to catch me. And yeah, the rest is history. I mean, I think, Joe, we've agreed that for every future video that we do, I've got to attempt a bicycle kick.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, look, the only way's up. I only scored one. I got taken out by the keeper on my one-on-one on my first try. I put the ball.
Grace Kazir of the STFC development team absolutely smashed you. And to be fair to her as well, she had some great saves in the video. So I mean, she's probably helped herself with the challenge to get Emily McGrogan's shirt just purely from absolutely breaking your leg.
Absolutely. I mean, she saved my free kick, my first one.
I think my little sister could save your free kick though.
Well, yeah, here we go. It wiped me out. I then put all the shots over the bar. It was just like, it was comical. But yeah, the one goal I scored was world class. Joe, let's move on to you. I mean, let's talk about your double slip.
I mean, to be fair, that's not fair. That's not fair. We can't start there. Like, look, I was happy with how I played. I thought the free kick wasn't that bad. It was a bit central. Good Travella goal. A couple of good shots, and then just fell over running back. It's not the end of the world, mate. At least it didn't break my neck.
You were like a salmon on the floor.
Yeah.
Stop it. It wasn't that bad.
Look,
I tried for the header as well. I went down and I was like, I can at least salvage a header here. So I tried to flop up and get a head on it, but it wasn't graceful. But it's a good place to start. I scored 3 goals, Ellis, so I'm taking that, mate.
I mean, I scored 1, but you could argue mine was the best one.
Look,
I knew coming off the back of it I was bad, but watching it back on Monday, I was like, Jesus, like I'm actually terrible. Like it's actually harder to do what I done, to put the ball over the bar the amount of times I did. It's harder to do that than to get them on target, and I don't even know. It's just
people would say that, mate. That's complete bullshit. You tell yourself that to make yourself feel better, aren't you?
Yeah, I hate myself after that. I'll stick to boxing, I think.
Yeah, mate, that is the wisest advice you could possibly give yourself, I'd say. But you'll have more opportunities to make a mug of yourself. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
Annie, obviously your team took the win home with you. what were your thoughts on one, the sort of the drill, and also your thoughts on your performance as a team and as a collective? I mean, you guys did all right.
I don't think there was any doubt that we were going to win. You guys were giving us loads of sticks saying you were going to win. No chance.
I
Wow.
literally said, I think before we did the video, I said to you and Rich something about because we were at Beversbrook, obviously, for the town training ground. I looked at you and I was like, thank God it's not Jake Young. And you looked at me like, I sort of did it for a bit of a nibble, but you looked at me like with this pure anger. I was like, oh shit, I have fucked up here.
Well, look, it was, to be fair, it was closer than I thought it was going to be. But the fact that I had my last go, and it wasn't even possible to get a draw. I think I had to score my diving header to make it even possible for a draw, and the fact that that couldn't even happen, it just shows how big of a gap there was.
Yeah, I mean, there was a gap,
a big gap.
But no, I really enjoyed it, and the girls loved it as well. I thought it was class to be a part of, and I forgot just how funny it was until I watched it back, and I was just cracking up. And the amount of people that said to me, "How has Ellis not snapped his neck?" I don't know how you did it.
Well, look, I'm pretty used to getting punched and stuff, so I think I've built up a tolerance to it. But it definitely looked worse in slow motion. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah. I'll ask a panelist. I put on my notes, sort of, Annie, if you had to pick the best and worst performances on the day, I mean, who would you go for, and why is Ellis the worst, and who is your best?
It's a no-brainer. Ellis was definitely the worst.
No.
Hang on, we've got the gaffer, Rich Wood, in the listeners. Rich, add a comment, mate. Tell us who you think, as the manager of STWFC, who performed best in that drill and who was the worst, and give us a reason as to why that was Ellis, please.
Well, look, Joe. If we're going off entertainment factor, I'm at the top, so I'm taking that. I made the video enjoyable. Otherwise, it's just Annie scoring goals, and we see that every week anyway. So,
boring.
Exactly.
Wow, thanks, guys.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I think if I was to look at the best performances, I think Annie, obviously, very composed finishes. I think the best goal in that entire video actually was Ellie's volley. It was an absolute corker. It was so calm, collected, just stroked the ball home. And I'm really happy that it got put into slow motion as well, so I could watch it over and over again. Because I think technique-wise, that was beautiful, and it showed us up for the absolute mugs that we are.
Yeah, it's just like, it just shows the massive gap in skill. It's like we never was gonna stand a chance anyway, were we? But it was just, I mean, the fact that I went twice as well probably didn't help. I think maybe Joe.
Yeah, who made that decision, by the way?
Huh?
Who made that decision? Because that was not smart.
I think you made it.
Oh shit!
Because I said I warned everyone. I said I'm not good. Don't put me twice, and you were like, no, you're the youngest. You can go twice. I said, well, fine. And look, at least look. I keep saying it. I scored the best goal of the day.
I mean, Daz, Charlie, jump in here, lads. Help us out, because obviously I'm biased towards Ellis being the worst. But Charlie, who was the best performers? Who was the worst? And who do you think scored the best goal as well?
Ellis, I don't want to put you down here, mate, but that wasn't brilliant, was it?
I was having an off day. Okay, I wasn't myself. I'll be back.
Prove everyone wrong next episode, and I'll take that statement back.
Don't worry about that. I will.
Daz, what about you, mate? Obviously, you've seen the video.
Yep.
We've had a laugh at Ellis's expense over and over again over the last few days. What were your thoughts? I mean, as a group, I think me and Gabs did all right. And the girls did what the girls were meant to do and absolutely smash us.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Gabs was pretty good, and Ellis should stick to the poetry. The women's manager, Mr. Wood, brilliant. I thought he was very good.
You thought he was very good.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly, first time I met Rich in person as well, and I know he's listening, so I feel a bit awkward saying this, but lovely bloke, really nice guy. I think the women have got a really good coach and a really good bloke that's going to be supportive for them this season, and has got a plenty of good ideas. Obviously, it's coming to fruition in terms of results for the club as well. So, doing a stern job. Like I say, Annie, I don't want to stick on this for too long, but yeah,
But Joe,
I'm not embarrassed that we've lost because we should have lost, but I'm embarrassed in your performance. And Annie
you're
should have
embarrassed.
scored 6 goals, so support from you as well, really.
I felt the pressure. All right, I think we should have had a second take.
We didn't. We didn't even. Did we have one practice?
We had one practice go before filming, and then went straight into it. No takes whatsoever. Like, trust me, if we had takes, that would have been the first thing getting taken out. But
Yeah.
look, at the end of the day, the only way's up. It is impossible for me to be any worse than I was. So, next video, we're going to see a vast improvement from myself.
I hope so. I mean, so for anyone that hasn't watched the challenge, make sure to head over to our YouTube channel and check out the You Know the Drill video. Let us know what you think. If you enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That's my new line. I feel like a YouTuber now. If you don't like the content, just skip to 1 minute 30 seconds into the video and enjoy it for about 5 seconds. Trust me, it's worth
the
it for a laugh.
timestamp as well.
Of course I know the timestamp, mate. Everyone in my office has been told to watch it.
No, can't do that.
So, obviously, this episode, it may have ended in lounge defeat, but fear not, we shall return. Not to be bullish, but I think that the next episode's opponents may come as a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, look, Joe, I'm not looking forward to that.
It'll be a tough one, but we've got to get the points back on the board.
Absolutely.
Rich Wood has commented here saying Tails' diving header was top, and I can't believe I hadn't mentioned that. Actually, I know we're moving on from the challenge.
That was my favourite goal, by the way.
It was my favourite goal, but it wasn't. It was against my team.
Yeah, it was class. I tried to go for one of them, and
yours wasn't that bad. To be fair, you got on target.
It was on target, but yeah, her finish was that. That was the best finish of the day for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I cannot disagree. I actually thought that Taylor was actually really quite good across the board. I said earlier on that Ellie's volley was my favourite goal. Maybe I'm being a little bit too hasty with that decision. We'll go with level on top. So look, next section. Obviously, we have got the STFC men's first team at the top of current matters, I guess, in terms of fan base and Twitter and socials. Not always the most positive social media content, I'd say, at present. The boys travelled up to Yorkshire this past weekend as they visited the Environment Stadium and took on Harrogate. 14th place Harrogate were the opponents the town looked to stop their rot against. Before we get into the game, Annie, I'd like to take your thoughts on this. Have you been through stages like the men are going through currently where, it's not quite clicking for them? We're struggling with injuries, with squad availability. We've had a run of games that we've just not been able to pick points up. It must be hard mentally for a player to go onto the pitch every single week after just grinding out, disappointing results, whether it's performances or results. It's just not going the right way. How do you cope with that personally?
Yeah, I've been through that. It's tough. It's tough mentally, and I think it's just tough to keep morale in the team. Of course everyone wants to do well, but when it's not clicking, it gets frustrating. And then obviously, the more frustrated you get, it's just the worse it's going to get. So, I think it's a bit of a rough patch, but I'm sure they'll get through it soon.
Yeah, I think we've started to see, especially first halves. There's a thing at the moment, sort of second half FC is becoming a bit of an issue. It's difficult, isn't it? Because there must be some sort of mentality thing, whether it's tiredness, that we haven't got the players available to us at the minute to be able to make changes in the second half, to be able to bring players on with the same quality, maybe experience even to grind out results. how difficult is it for players when you know that you've got to play 90 minutes sort of Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday? If it was Monday, Tuesday, that'd be worse. But just how difficult is it, even physically, to have to drain your body every single 3 or 4 days of harsh exercise for 90 minutes? Must be really quite tiring at points and difficult to bounce back from.
I mean, the worst I've done is Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. But yeah, it is tiring, and it's just the knowing that you've got such a short space to recover, and then you're back on it again. When it comes to the end of the week, you're just absolutely knackered.
Yeah, I mean, you've got training in there as well. So obviously, you'd imagine training is just a case of recovery, but there's only so much recovery you can do, I guess. So let's touch on the game, shall we? So Town lined up as follows: Murphy Mahoney in goal, Udoka Godwin Leaf, Fraser Blake Tracy, Harrison Minter at the back, Romeo Hutton, Liam Kinsella, Seydou Khan, Williams Kokolo, Dan Kemp in midfield, Charlie Austin, Jake Young. So, I mean, who watched the game this weekend? Ellis, did you catch the game on? Was it on iFollow? You called it on?
I managed to sort of catch the end of it.
Okay.
I was working, but yeah, I was listening to it, and I managed to watch the end of it. So I was in and out.
So, I mean, everyone, feel free to jump in here as well. I mentioned there second half FC becoming an issue. Something that's certainly not an issue at the minute is first half FC. So,
Yeah.
sensational strike from Jake Young on 25 minutes. We could have been further ahead at half time, and I thought I don't think you could argue, actually. I think on the whole, in that first half, we were absolutely all over Harrogate. They had a good 5 minutes at the start, but other than that, we could have been 2-3-0 up at half time. It's fine margins at the minute, isn't it, for Townsmen?
Yeah, it's happened in a lot of games recently. It's like we're two separate teams coming out. We come out strong in the first half. I don't know what goes on over half time, what's said or the instructions being given, but we come out and we just look a lot, just everything just seems a lot poorer. Like we're slower in possession. We're slow on the press. We're weak in the tackles. Like it's just everything just seems the opposite of what we were doing. Now I don't know whether that's the other team stepping up a little bit, but you look at the two separate halves and you think that's two different teams, and it's just like a team like Harrogate. Like let's be honest, they're not the best team in the league, but like at all. They're a team where you should be picking up 3 points, especially if you're going 1-0 up. If you're 1-0 up at half time, you want to be seeing out that game. You want to be getting another goal or two. But the fact that we can't do that against a team like Harrogate is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, before we get our teeth into that second half, Daz, Charlie, you guys, what were your thoughts? I guess at the start of the first half, we'll start with that because I thought the first half we were actually quite good. I thought we looked comfortable, we looked dangerous. Obviously, a great strike from Jake Young from about 25 yards out. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think someone on social media put that out about second half Swindon and first half Swindon. If the games had finished after 45 minutes, we'd be second in the league.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it is exactly that. Now, I'm not sure whether it's fitness. I wonder if it's the mental capacity to think for that long. I think that's a lot to do with it because Fraser Blake Tracy second half. Well, I don't know if he had his brain put in for the second half. I really don't, because he just wasn't in it. He was just not at the races second half. I know you want to talk about first half, but yeah, I mean the first 45 minutes, it's that they're playing, they're moving for each other, they're playing to space, they're making the passes, and they're moving, and it's quick. And then second half, it's, as everyone says, it's the complete opposite.
Tell you what, I think as well on the first half, obviously it was good. It was fluid. It was confident. It was attacking. We looked dangerous. I think someone that actually has come in a very short space of time as well and made an improvement or an impact is actually Williams Kokolo. I think we're almost seeing a little bit of a Mandela Egbo effect at fullback. I think at least from him. He's obviously he's different to what we have with. I think Uwakwe's got elements of what Kokolo brings. I think Kokolo's a little bit more physical
Yeah.
and maybe a bit more aggressive in his attacking. Um, at left back, who else we've got at left back this season? So we've got Tyrese Shade as well. I wouldn't say Tyrese is a left back. I wouldn't say that's a natural position for him. I think you see him sometimes get caught out in certain aspects. I just think I wasn't sure on the signing of Kokolo. I hadn't seen him much. Obviously, there was a lot of noise on social media about the signing, which is part and parcel, I guess, of what you'd expect.
Mm.
I've been impressed with him. I mean, Ellis, Charlie, Daz. What are your thoughts on him? Because I think he's been good in the last couple of games.
Yeah. Look, we've spoke about how we've been quite weak along that left hand side. Obviously on the right we've got Hutton constantly up and down the wing putting in crosses. But yeah, this left hand side with our wing backs, we've just been missing something, and the players that have stepped up have just not quite, done the job. The system that we play requires to have quite attacking wing backs that can, progress through the thirds and hit the opposition on the counter attack. So they need to be up and down. And Kokolo has got, like you said, Joe, he's got strength and he's got pace as well. He's pretty rapid. So to have a player that can defend solid and then on the counter he's attacking and he looks a threat. He looks tricky, and it's certainly a lot different and, in my opinion, a lot better than what we've seen this season so far. And you've got to think as well. Look, it was his second game.
Yep.
He's going to have a bit of ring rust, so give it another 3 games and 3 or 4 games, and hopefully he'll be up to full fitness. And back in the swing of things, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I say I didn't have too many positives coming out of Saturday. Obviously, Jake Young, great goal. First half performance, and I put Williams Kokolo because I thought he was a positive. Now, I've just put on my notes for the second half. I usually have bullet points of every single sort of play that I thought was noteworthy. I've just put second half woes because I think it's becoming a little bit too familiar, isn't it, Daz? Of the second half performances of recent weeks. I mean, we go into half time on a high, come out of it, don't come out of the dressing room. Early equaliser from Harrogate, and it took us a while to get back at them. Obviously, Coca-Cola had a great chance on the turn, about 6 yards out. Probably should have scored. Straight at the keeper. I'd say it was a good save, but either side of him, it's a goal. Where do we start with it, or where do we go into the second half and try and analyse it?
Well, I think it's a sort of like the mental weakness, the fatigue mentally. Then you get the thing that it becomes a thing and it just boils and boils and boils. So they actually dread coming out for the second half. We always used to be a second half team. We'd be winning games in the second half. We'd be pulverizing teams in the last 10 minutes. That's gone out the window, and now they just seem they don't want to come out the dressing room for the second half. And apart from mental fatigue, I really don't know what it is. But they just don't seem to want to work for the second half. I don't know what it is, but there's just something amiss.
I think the word that you've used there, and I would point out as being probably the most important word, is fatigue. I mentioned earlier on that obviously we haven't got that deep of a squad at the moment. We've got injuries upon injuries, and it seems to be that the likes of poor Reece Devine, who comes back from injury, gets back into training, and then injures himself again, or Jake Kane goes from injury to injury, or Tom Clayton comes back and plays a couple of games. I think he started one, made a couple of sub appearances, and then gets a worse injury. It's never ending. And I think I saw someone who was talking this week actually about games. I think Gavi got injured for Spain, and Barcelona were saying that they were suing FIFA because the amount of football in terms of, I know we haven't got players playing national games every 5 seconds. We've got a couple, but we've got cup competitions. We've got league games literally Saturday, Tuesday, every single week. It's loading the players up with too many minutes in their legs. It's making us just vulnerable to muscle strains or to wearing away and just tiredness, and it's going to cause injuries. It's not safe, I don't think. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. When your team's winning, you get very few injuries. You look at the Stockport top of the table. How many have they got injured on their bench? Injured,
yeah, I think
very very
they've got a
few.
bigger squad than us though as well.
I,
Like they've
I,
got.
I take that, but the injuries are less when you're winning because you want to play because you're winning. When you start losing, all that hammy that's a little bit tight is that's my feeling on it. I think when teams aren't doing so well, their injuries stack up, and it's because they don't want to play. Perhaps I'm being cynical, but
I think,
that's what I
yeah,
say.
that's probably. I mean, to be fair, you're welcome to your opinion, mate, and obviously any opinion is expressed and it's taken. I just I don't know. I think we've been unlucky with injuries, but we haven't got the squad to be able to actually rotate successfully. I think you mentioned Stockport. Louis Barry was smashing it for Stockport at the start of the season. He gets a hamstring injury. He's been out for a few weeks, and they haven't seen a drop off at all. I mean, Charlie, what are your thoughts, mate? Because I think the fact that we cannot rotate our squad, the likes of, looking at the squad from Saturday, players like maybe FBT, maybe he needs a bit of a rest, maybe he needs a bit of a reset. You got Dan Kemp has played like every single minute in the league this season, bar the game he was suspended for or ineligible for. Same with Charlie Austin. Charlie Austin's, he's no spring chicken anymore. He's an experienced player. He's an important player for town. But can you expect a player that's played so many minutes over his career to be coming in and playing Saturday, Tuesday, 90 minutes a week? Like, it's tough. I mean, Charlie, what do you think, mate? Because
I
I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think surely the numbers and the opportunity to rotate it surely is affecting us, isn't it?
I was gonna say earlier, with all the games as well. We haven't seen it as much as other teams have, but you have all that long added time minutes new rule thing now as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great example. To be fair, you look at, I think the FA when they announced it, they announced that they were going to, this season install that 13, 14, 15 minutes injury time at the end of each half due to time wasting and and whatnot. I think that a lot of players last year had wrote to the FA to express their concerns about it. So you had a lot of the Premier League players publicly go out on Twitter. You look at Rafael Varane's pinned tweet now. Still, I think it's about him saying that it's dangerous for players to be playing 120 minutes a game. Pretty much, you're playing like an FA Cup semi-final replay at Wembley every league game, and it's
Yeah.
just it's mad.
Yeah, I mean, look, the game's 90 minutes, and you start adding 10 minutes on at half time, and then another 8 at full time. It adds up, and you something, because look, let's be honest, it doesn't really prevent time wasting. It still happens, and what ends up happening is you just end up time wasting even more in that added time,
Mm-hmm.
and then it doesn't get added on to that added time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So look, it still happens, and it just ends up making the game longer. It increases the chance of injury, and it's a pain in the ass. Like it for me, it just doesn't work. And what I get what they're trying to achieve. Like, something needs to be done, but I think this isn't the right way to go about it.
No, I definitely agree, and I think going back just quickly to Saturday, I think someone that you look at as a prime example of sort of my argument here for players being overworked is someone like Dan Kemp. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, Kempy's been probably arguably our best player this season. I would say I don't think many people would stand in my way of putting up a fight against that. He just didn't look himself. He didn't look like he was running. He didn't look like he had the energy to, burst into the box or
yeah.
make those explosive turns and get a shot off a goal that we've come so accustomed to. He
Well,
just looked like he was playing a different game.
Well, Joe, it's not just the physical strain that it has on the player. It's the emotional strain. Like, Kemp knows that he's one of the most important players in our side. He knows
Hmm.
that he's integral to the way that we play, and he's going to know that he can't switch off in the game. It's going to have a toll on him, knowing that he's one of the best players and he's got to perform.
Yeah.
Um, to have that playing on your mind, and plus obviously playing the game, having the physical effects on the body, it's crazy. I mean, like, no wonder that these players are getting tired and getting worn out, and it just doesn't help that we don't have a big squad. It like you'd like, in an ideal world, you'd like to have one or two players equal to the player on the pitch in terms of ability that can come
Hmm.
on and as a substitution, or start the next game. But we just don't have that. If you look at our bench, we've got two or three maybe players that can start the game. Apart from that, the rest are squad fillers, if you like. So the players are just getting run down. There's no friendly competition. There's no one challenging for positions. So that can come into play in terms of players getting complacent.
Hmm.
You haven't got a player trying to get their position in the starting lineup. There's loads of factors that come into play.
I
So
think it's interesting there you say as well about, like, you look at other teams' substitutions and how different they are to ours. Like, at first when you said it, I was actually going to bring in, like, Man City as an example, but I think obviously Man City are probably a bit of a million miles away from where we are. But they haven't got. What I'm trying to say is, like, they haven't got a position that they can rotate, and the quality doesn't drop off.
exactly,
So you look
exactly.
at Stockport County as an example in League Two. There was that photo that went
Oh,
around on Twitter,
yeah,
and we made a substitution. I think I can't remember who came on. Someone came on. We had one substitution. They brought on three players. They brought on Nick Powell, who was playing for Man United in their title-winning season a few years back. You had Paddy Madden, who scored goals and goals and goals at League One, League Two, Championship level, and then I think it might have been like Anthony Sarcevic as well,
yeah,
who has done well at this level.
yeah.
It's just night and day. It really
It
is. It's
is.
quite upsetting because we know that January is going to be big for us, and we need to really, you know, we need a great recruitment session throughout January. I think we need
It's
to be
make
bringing
or
in players that
break.
are.
It's
Sorry,
make or
mate.
break, Joe. It's make or break January. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's
It's
absolutely.
it's
It's going to
big.
go one way or the other, and it is absolutely make or break. And
Yeah.
if we don't,
Look,
well,
we need to look. Not only do we need to, I think we need to strengthen our starting lineup for a start. And we need better quality on the bench as well. It's we need to get bodies in the door, but not just anybody. We need good quality players that can get into that starting lineup, that can challenge the players that 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 are on the pitch. It's like you said, Daz. It is make or break, and I think if we don't spend, not necessarily spend big, but spend wisely and get the right players in, I think there's a lot of pressure on Clem as it is at the minute. I think if January goes tits up, then it's it's maybe
It's gonna get messy.
the fans aren't going to stick around with Clem much longer. If we have a shit January.
Yeah, no, I agree with those sentiments, mate. Charlie, you got your hand up waiting.
Going back to the obviously the fatigue and stuff, the players, because of how many subs we don't have that can come on, we're having to use youth players and stuff. Those main 11 players are being expected to play 90 plus whatever minutes and perform every game, whether that be Saturday, Tuesday, or just a Saturday.
Look,
it's mad.
The players that are on the pitch, they are good, and on their day, they can play a great game of football. We've seen it.
Mate, I think our starting 11 is up there with the best in the league.
Oh,
if we have our
100%.
best players available, our starting 11 is genuinely frighteningly good.
Absolutely. Look, Crawley 7-0. The Wrexham game stands out to me. Even Notts County, was it the second half against Notts County where we played well. Look, we're challenging the top teams, and we touched on it earlier. We play well for one half and then drop off. These players can play well, and they are a very, very good side on their day. But I think the major problem in this side is lack of depth and just fatigue on the players. It shows on the pitch, and it's tough because it's still we've still got quite a few games until January, and look, this could have been avoided if we got players in over the summer. But there's nothing at the moment now that we can do about it. Look, maybe there's one or two free transfers out there that are up.
The only I'm just conscious of the time. Obviously, want to move on to the next topic, but the only thing about you say free agents, mate. Every single agent of free agents is now aware that we're absolutely strapped for players. So any player we want to sign on a free contract, you just know that their bloody wages will get doubled because they're Swindon Town are in dire need of numbers. So you're going to end up paying twice as much as you should be for a bloke or a player that's not got a club in November in League Two or even National League and below. It's a rough place to be. I really genuinely don't envy Michael Flynn at the minute. I think he must be going through it in terms of recruitment and the amount of hours he's putting in and tough conversations he's having. It can't be good. It can't be good. Just obviously we had a game last night, which doesn't help the fatigue. I'm not going to stick around on this. It's the JPT or the Papa John's Trophy or the bloody Capital One mate. The Screwfix pot or whatever it is. I haven't got a clue.
Don't forget Bristol Street Motors.
Sorry, rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? How did I forget?
Carlin, was it at one point?
No, that was a leak up. Anyway, could have been anything to be fair, mate. Bloody Dulux paint. So I'm going to ask one word. I'm not going to stick around this because there's no point. Obviously, the lowest ever attendance at a home game for Swindon Town in 100 years.
Breaking records.
Pretty impressive. Breaking records, yeah. I'm going to ask each of the panelists for their one-word review of yesterday. And that's all we're going to do on it. Okay? So, Ellis, give me one word on yesterday.
Meh.
Meh. All right, take that. Charlie?
Average.
Average, okay. Daz?
Predictable.
Predictable, okay. Even Annie, do you fancy a one-word review?
I forgot what the question was.
So we had a game yesterday. The men had a game yesterday that it was the lowest ever attendance for a trophy that no one cares about, and no one went. So give us a one-word review on that for us.
Quiet.
Do you know what?
No, do you know what it actually was? Because I was training last night, and it was the quietest I've ever heard it with a home game.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like I say, I think was it 699 that went. I mean,
something like that.
If you're one of the 699, there you go. If you're one of the 694, that went
644
4 Joe. Stop adding
mate.
numbers.
going
and
down. Sorry,
78 Exeter fans.
bloody hell! Right,
Right.
if you were part of the 644 that went to Swindon Town against Exeter City on the 21st November 2023, write it down, get a medal, and put it around your neck because you deserve it. So fair play to those hardy souls that braved the cold to watch that. Ellis, let's
Yeah.
quickly have a chat about Saturday.
Ooh.
So obviously, Town welcome undefeated second place Mansfield Town to the county ground.
Yeah.
Now, this is a test and a big one at that. Ellis, I'm
Absolutely.
nervous. Take it away.
Yeah. Look, Joe. Like you said, it is up there with one of our toughest games so far this season. You said they are undefeated. They have the best defence in the league, only conceding 13 goals. Look, they've won their previous 5 league games, whereas we have lost 4 out of 5 of our previous league games, with obviously a draw to Harrogate last weekend. It's gonna be a real test. They're playing good football. Obviously, they got 2 previous Town players in Aidan Flint and Louis Reed.
Don't ever mention that name on this podcast ever again. Sorry.
Can I quickly interrupt?
Yeah.
They're also ranked second away from home this season, so they have second best away form.
Yeah, there you go. So look,
Charlie.
Basically the odds are against us. Previous players always seem to either score or play well against us. Obviously, the Tool centre back has been scoring quite a few goals this season.
I love that you didn't mention the name again. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Obviously, we are pretty weak on defending set pieces, and obviously his height can come into play. Louis Reed can obviously ping a ball. In the words of Simon Ferry at the Paul Caddis charity game, he can find a midget's cock from a mile away.
Bloody hell, that's we do not appreciate those sentiments, Ellis, live on air. We apologise for any offence that's been caused there. That doesn't represent the manner of which we like to conduct ourselves. And
Not at all.
Ellis Holloway will be taking a disciplinary course of action. Don't worry.
Sorry, everyone.
Not 9
That was
o'clock
awful.
yet.
Anyway, look, like I said, the odds are against us. It's going to be a real tough test, and it's just I mean, does someone want to add anything else? Anyone want to take over?
I mean, I think all I've got to add is that you absolutely know that big bell end of a centre back is scoring at the Town end.
Oh,
on
and he's
Saturday.
celebrating. He's
celebrating big time.
Top
Like,
off.
Last minute win.
Knee slide.
Oh, Charlie, don't. I genuinely, I don't think I can handle it. It makes me feel sick. Charlie, what are your thoughts going into the game, mate? Because I don't want to think about Aidan Flint scoring a goal anymore.
I don't want to, I'm going to be optimistic and we're going to win 2-1.
Oh, that's what we like.
That's what I'm going to say.
That is pure TSTVL fashion. I love it. We've gone from absolute doom mongering to a 2-1 win.
Yeah, Joe, look, we saw last night a change in formation. I think we played 4-3-3.
Yep.
So look, could this be a change in tactics from Flynn? Could we be looking at a change in formation? I don't know.
I would say it's probably more that the under-18s play 4-3-3.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. It's just going to be a real tough test. They obviously have, like I said, they've got the best defense. They've got the best defense in the league. We can score a goal. We absolutely can, but it's whether we can break down that defense. Obviously, we haven't got the tallest strikers in the world, and obviously with that big man at the back, it's going to be a test to we're certainly gonna have to change it up. I think obviously with Hutton putting the balls into the box, I think we're gonna have to try some low balls, and possibly Charlie Austin's experience can come into play. I think we need to get him on the penalty spot and just keep him there. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm normally really positive. I normally have a positive prediction. I just can't. I struggle to see us getting even a point from this. And I think if we lose on Saturday, it's gonna create an even more toxic atmosphere than there already is. So I really, really hope we win. I hope we get at least a point from here. I'm never looking for draws, but I think a draw against Mansfield, you'll be more than happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if this side can, if they can make a statement and get a win, break their unbeaten record, then look, wonderful. But can I see that happening?
The most Swindon Town thing to do is to make us sit here for half an hour and do munger and feel sorry for ourselves and expect a battering, and we'll go and win 1-0. Like,
yeah, exactly.
With an Aidan Flint own goal.
Oh, Daz, you can only say those filthy things at certain points of the evening, and it's too early.
I hope so. I hope so. I better give you a prediction. I'll give you a prediction. I'll give you a positive prediction.
Okay.
This is what in an ideal world we win. I reckon 2-1. I think we go 1-0 down in the first half. We're gonna play. We're not gonna play the best in the first half. We're gonna do the opposite of Harrogate, and we're gonna come out in the second half and come to win the game. That is what my heart is saying. My head is saying that we're gonna lose 3-4-0. But look, I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Well, we'll make it a 2-2 draw then. As an average between those two scores.
In the middle.
Yeah, Charlie, what are you thinking, mate? Are you thinking positive, negative, in between?
2-1 Flint own goal in the 90th minute.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Daz, thoughts, mate? Prediction?
3-1 loss.
Oh, nothing else said. That hurt. That felt like a dagger. Now, look, I was before we end it. Obviously, I was just making that link of Mansfield are currently unbeaten. So are the AFC Bournemouth women's team. So, Annie, just before we go off air, do you think that the longer it goes that these teams go unbeaten, it almost gives the opposition side a bit of a carrot to nibble at, like extra motivation to be able to beat these unbeaten teams and be that thorn in their side?
Yeah, for sure it does. And I think also on the flip side, the team that's going unbeaten, you're sort of created the pressure for yourself now that you've got to keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would always remain positive. I think as Annie said there, the onus is on us to go out there and attack them and be that problem. But it's also an issue for them as well to have to defend this unbeaten streak, and as it goes along, it becomes a bit of a thing. So with that in mind, I would say 2-0 Town on Saturday, and then on Sunday, I reckon the girls will win 2-1. And I think Annie scores both goals, ends on 51 goals. Joe gets to put his tweet out. Everyone's happy. So with that said, obviously, make sure you get down to County Ground on Saturday for the men's team. Give Aidan Flynn absolute hell, please. I want Galatasaray against Fenerbahce vibes. I want the town end to be bouncing. I'm not saying bring pyro, but if you have it in your pocket when you find yourself past the gates, then, it is what it is. It's fair game. No, that's illegal. This show is never going out, by the way. This show is awful for content and legalities. My disclaimer at the end becomes even more important.
Yeah.
And obviously Sunday, the girls are at home to AFC Bournemouth in the FA Cup. Tickets are only £4, so please get yourself down and support the Reds. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff. Undefeated AFC Bournemouth in town. We've got a chance to get through to the third round. That's one round closer to the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, the likes of those guys. So it could be our year in the FA Cup. Who'd have thought it?
£4 is a bargain for the quality, by the way.
Mate, £4 is stupendous, and you'd be silly not to get yourself down to the county round. So please do so. So, I mean, that brings us to the end. We're a little bit over time. Annie, thank you very, very much for coming back on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me as always.
You are very welcome. And my lovely panel, thank you all once again.
No problem.
Absolute heroes.
No worries. No problem.
Heroes. I mean, the
Everyone's very
dejective
happy.
no problems there is. I'm trying to end on a happy note here, and
Yeah.
you're upsetting me all. You're upsetting me.
Sorry, Joe.
I mean, I'll get on with it. As always, thank you very, very much for joining us this evening. A huge, massive, humongous reminder that we are an independent X space, and the views that have been expressed this evening are most certainly not representative of those of Swindon Town Football Club, nor to Tom Broadbent himself.
Sorry, everyone.
Thank you once again for listening. Come on, you Reds.